and welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. Today we're talking about the decentralization reform in Ukraine. On December 13th, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky submitted the corresponding bill to the parliament. If the MPs support it, this will entail changes to the constitution. Some experts say that as a result, the president and prime minister would gain more control over local authorities. To talk more about this, we welcome to our studio today Serhiy Ryabenko. He is a lawyer. Hello and thank you for joining us.
Hello.
So, according to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, Vadim Prystaiko, by making amendments to the constitution, Kyiv implements the Minsk agreements. Now, we have been implementing the decentralization reform and quite successfully in various regions of Ukraine for over 5 years now. Why do we need to make amendments to the constitution now?
To my mind, we need to make such changes to Ukrainian constitution because the system of decentralization that we have nowadays, it is not quietly a success to the norms of the constitution that we have nowadays. For example, if we are speaking about the local communities that are now being formed through the whole territory of Ukraine, we do not have such a body, such an organization of decentralization local communities in the constitution. We have it just in ordinary law, and it needs to be succeeded to the norms of the constitution.
Okay, well, have you read the draft, have you taken a look at the draft law that has been submitted to the Constitutional Court by the president and his team? What are its pros and cons, in your opinion?
To my mind, there are some norms that, to my quiet opinion, are quite good. For example, the norms that put such norms of local communities into the norms of the Ukrainian constitution. But on the other hand, we have some norms to which I have some questions, and these norms, while they been implemented into the constitution of Ukraine, may make in future some questions and some maybe not very positive results.
Like what?
For example, I'm speaking about the norms that regulate the such figure as the prefect and its function. For example, nowadays we have the local administration on the regional and district levels. According to the norms, to the law that was set to the Verkhovna Rada by the President Zelensky, all this administration should be transformed into the prefect's office on the level of regions and also on the level of districts. Some norms that are written in this law are very widely to implement and very widely to look through. For example, if we are speaking about the control functions of the prefects, and it is one of the main ideas of this law to make such prefects be a controller from the government and presidential level to the activity of the local community, we have two very interesting norms. For example, the prefect, while he's examining some decisions of the local communities, he may make orders and stop the action of this or that decision of local community and go to the court, and after that the court should make final decision to whether this decision is against the norms of the law and constitution or not. On the other hand, we have another function of the prefect. For example, if he examines this or that decision of the local community and up to his mind some decision is against the not only the constitution and the law, but it is against the national interest, the sovereignty, the territory of Ukraine, he may claim about this decision to president. The president stops the action of this law, and he makes the claim to the constitutional court, which has to make its final decision during 7 days. And after that, if such a decision is been examined by the constitutional court, and the final point of view, final verdict of the constitution is that this decision of the local community is against the national interests of Ukraine. After that, the president has the possibility to stop any activity of this local community, to make a special state controller to this territory, and to make the elections of this local community. To my mind, the very question to it is how these norms, if they will be adopted by the Ukrainian parliament, would be implemented by the prefects, by the government, and by the president. Because we in our country such function of the prefect, it may be used to make problems to some local community that are not willing, not even to government and president, but for example to president's office. We had such precedents some years before in Kiev, for example, when we have conflict with the mayor that was elected by the people who consist the local community of Kiev, and by the head of the administration that was put on his post by the decision of the government and president, and that person was not elected.
Okay, we have a soundbite by Alexander Kornienko, who is the deputy chairman of the Servant of the People's faction, talking about the bill. So let's take a listen.
It's a well-balanced bill. It's about completing the decentralization reform. We need to make sure that all of Ukraine is covered by communities. It didn't come out of thin air. It's an example from the European Charter of Local Self-Government, which Ukraine ratified. The three-level system, which is incorporated in the project for constitutional amendments, is very similar to European standards.
So Mr. Kornienko is talking about a three-level system, which is similar to the European one. Could you dwell on it a little bit more? How is it going to work?
Some of European countries really has the common system that is organized on three levels. For example, our western neighbor Poland has also three level of decentralization organization of power. Regional, the district level that is called powiat or powiats in Polish language, and also local communities such as in Ukraine. Some other countries of Europe, they also have their own system of decentralization, their own system of administration and territorial organization of the state territory. For example, in Czech Republic, this system is built into two levels. For example, in the Baltic states, it also has two levels because these states are rather small. In France, for example, it is now organized partly in three levels and sometimes in four levels in some communities.
Okay, in Ukraine currently, administrative territorial structure consists of regions, districts, cities, and towns, right?
Yes.
I've named four levels. So how's it going to change once the bill is voted into law?
If this bill will be implemented by the Ukrainian parliament, we'll have also the system that consists of three levels. The regional levels, which are called the Oblast and the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. The district level, it is the second level, and the third level is the level of local communities. There will be no great differences between cities and towns. All of them will be called communities, and some of these communities will consist of unification of several towns or small communities, and some of them will only consist of one town or one city, for example.
The new bill also pushes for taking the special status from Kyiv and Sevastopol away. Now, Kyiv will still be different from other cities because this is the capital. What about Sevastopol? And how could it harm the whole Ukrainian administrative structure if we do remove those special statuses from those two cities?
For Kyiv, there is also norm in one of the articles, as far as I remember, the article 133, that the Kyiv will have special status that will be regulated by a special law. To my mind, it's rather a possibility to create the fully local community administration and self-government in Kyiv as the capital of Ukraine, because nowadays in Kyiv we have a very interesting system that the state administration is not the executive body of the local city Kyiv Council that is created by the city council. Nowadays it is created by the mayor, who is the head of the city administration, and it is partly created also by the decision of the government. And this decision, for example, if we remember the story that happened some years ago, when we had the conflict between the mayor and between the head of the administration and the government, sometimes it is very difficult to create the administration as the fully executive body of the Kyiv City Council. Nowadays, if these changes will be implemented by the parliament to the Ukrainian constitution, I think that this executive body of the Kyiv City Council could be created by mayor and by the city council that is elected by the citizens of Kyiv. Speaking about Sevastopol, to my mind, it's one of the questions that I have to this law of President Zelensky, because looking on this three-level structure, as far as I understand, the Sevastopol will be an ordinary community that will be the part of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. But it's my point of view, and we had the other point of view, for example, from Serhiy Ryabenko, the member of parliament, and his point of view is that the status of Sevastopol should be changed only after the deoccupation of this territory.
Okay, what does the new president's bill say about the temporarily occupied territories, meaning Donbass?
Nothing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely nothing, and there are other laws that regulate the status of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea and Sevastopol, and also the special districts of the Donetsk and Lugansk regions, and these regions are called the occupied territories. And these two laws, they put on their status as the occupied territories.
Well, there is a statement in the law that the peculiarities, let's say, of the currently not under governmental control territories are going to be regulated by special laws. Which laws?
It's also a very interesting question to my mind, because if we read these proposed changes to the Ukrainian constitutions, there are no words, not even a word about these occupied territories and about any status of these territories. If we look on the proposed changes, as far as I understand, all these territories will also get the status of local communities and districts. But there are some norms that may be implemented in this or that way, and they give a very wide possibility to implementate them. For example, in changes that are proposed to Article 85 and Article 92 that regulates the functions of the parliament and the functions of laws of Ukraine, some of these norms may be interpreted in such a way that there may be some special laws that regulate some special status of this or that local communities or this or that districts.
Well, thank you so much for coming here today and clarifying it for us. That was Serhiy Ryabenko. He is a lawyer. Thank you so much for watching Head to Head. Stay tuned with UATV for more.